The gift of the Holy Spirit and grant me the gifts of wisdom, knowledge, faith, understanding, and discernment, so that I will live today in your glory by doing what is right.
मुझको सिखाओ, आओ माँ मुझको चलाओ.
Aasharyath's baby and Mary Tharian are my grandparents. This is a photograph of them at my first Holy Communion at the Roman Catholic Church in Cantonment in Ahmedabad in December of 2004. Until around the 1950s, ours was a Syrian Catholic family in Prakanam, Patnamthitta district of South Kerala. Traditionally, Syrian Christians were traders and landowners. They claimed descent from the earliest converts to Christianity. The presence of the Jewish traders in Kerala had possibly led to the arrival of St. Thomas 2000 years ago. He is said to have converted the Namboothiri Brahmins of Kerala that began to be called Nazranis after Jesus of Nazareth. The appellation Syrian, based on their adherence to the Middle Eastern churches, was applied 600 years later to distinguish themselves from the Latin Christianity of the Portuguese. Together, they are called Roman Catholics everywhere outside Kerala, but the distinction is strongly maintained within the state, where the Syrian and the Latin groups function separately even to this day. The early arrival of Christianity set pace for further growth. Even unto the colonial period, Christian conversion indicated a steady increase. With the support of the Travancore Maharajas, missionary zeal reached far and wide. The London Missionary Society and the Church Missionary Society laid early foundations of Western education in the region. At their institution in Prakanam, my grandfather studied, in hope of a better future for him and his family.
Palli means church in Malayalam, and the school also called Palli. So every church will have a school.
Despite the education, there was little hope for employment in the state.
केरला का कंडीशन में फौज में जाते समय बहुत पुअर कंडीशन है, गरीब इलाका में, कोई नौकरी नहीं है. साल में केरला में क्या 6 महीने लगातार बारिश, 4-5 महीना कृषि, അത് കഴിഞ്ഞ് വീണ്ടും അതേ അവസ്ഥ, പണിയൊന്നുമില്ല.
वहाँ जॉब का कुछ थे नहीं, और कुछ फैक्ट्री कोई चालू हो गया तो तुरंत स्ट्राइक लगा देते हैं.
എണ്ണാവുന്ന ആളുകൾക്ക് മാത്രമേ ഗവൺമെൻറ് ഉദ്യോഗസ്ഥരുള്ളൂ, ബാക്കിയുള്ളവരൊക്കെ കൂലിപ്പണിക്കാർ, എല്ലാവരും കൂലിപ്പണി.
In those days, earliest engagement in any job, that was the ambition. Once you are in a higher school, always the children will talk about getting a job.
ഗ്രാജുവേഷൻ കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് അവർ പാടത്ത് പണിയെടുക്കുക, പെണ്ണുങ്ങളും ആണുങ്ങളൊക്കെ. പെണ്ണുങ്ങൾ പാടത്ത് പണിയെടുക്കുന്ന നെല്ലിനിടയ്ക്ക് ഒരു 5 മണിക്കൂർ പണിയെടുത്താൽ 3 രൂപ അന്ന് കിട്ടും പെണ്ണുങ്ങൾക്ക്, ആണുങ്ങൾക്ക് 3.5 രൂപ, 50 പൈസ കൂടുതൽ, അങ്ങനെ അന്നത്തെ കാലം.
That is why Keralites leave Kerala to find jobs. There are no job opportunities in Kerala.
So one M is Maharajas, second M is missionaries. Now this 2M has created a large chunk of what I call them educated unemployed people in Kerala. That created what we call them 3M, that is migration.
Post-independence, in the process of nation building, there arose a demand for English-speaking persons for carrying out clerical work in office environments. Stenography was an upcoming career. Moreover, it was the easiest way to start earning a living. It required little specialization and elementary English skills. The trend caught up quickly in Kerala, and it triggered a large movement of people across the country.
I think the main concentration were in metros. I think if you talk about metros in 1950s, this was Chennai, Bangalore, Delhi, and Mumbai. Calcutta was not that popular among Keralites. That's why you don't have a direct train from Trivandrum to Calcutta.
വീട്ടിൽ നിന്ന് നടന്ന് പുളുകുന്നി വരും, പുളുകുന്നിൽ നിന്ന് ബോട്ട് കയറി ചങ്ങനാശ്ശേരി വരും, ചങ്ങനാശ്ശേരിയിൽ നിന്ന് റിക്ഷ പിടിച്ച് റെയിൽവേ സ്റ്റേഷനിൽ വരും.
Direct train was to Mumbai, but in between Arkonam.
Bombay Victoria Station, then you had to come to Bombay Central.
Then catch another train to Virangam. That is Saurashtra Express.
രാവിലെ വന്നിട്ട് ബോംബെയിൽ നിന്ന് 2-3 ട്രെയിനുണ്ട്, കണക്റ്റഡ് ട്രെയിനുണ്ട്. അത് പിടിച്ച് ഇവിടെ 4:30-5 മണിയാകുമ്പോൾ അഹമ്മദാബാദിൽ വന്നിറങ്ങും.
I think that was started off in 50s and that continued. So Malayalis were tasted the mobility. Now Malayalis are addicted to migration.
कोयलों का है और वो है कालीगढ़.
अच्छा, तो दोनों जगह से क्या आता है?
ये कालीगढ़ से नारियल आता है और कोयलों से प्याज आता है और कप्पा भी आता है कि आम आता है और एक टमाटर भी आता है.
Ahmedabad at the time was running to the siren of the mills. My grandfather became one of the several Malayalees that had given in to the appeal of the textile mill industry. 60 years ago, on one such train, Aasharyatha's Karya baby arrived in Ahmedabad, Manchester of the East, seeking employment.
जब तो अहमदाबाद की रोशनी थी, ऐसी रोशनी थी तक पूछो ही मत. अभी जो रोशनी है ना, वो मोदी साहब ने बिल्कुल बिगाड़ दी है. जैसे अपने अमेरिका छोकरा बेचता है तो कैसे उसको उमंग और ऐसे मेरे फादर को छोड़ने के लिए सब बाहर निकले थे गांव वाले. इतनी रौनक थी. कहीं से भी जाओ, यूपी जाओ, महाराष्ट्र जाओ, राजस्थान जाओ, कहीं भी जाओ. बोले कहाँ जाएंगे? बोले अहमदाबाद. बोले वहाँ सोने की चिड़िया.
Ahmedabad was seeing its golden days. There were ample opportunities for employment. A textile mill at the time was a vertically integrated unit that carried out all processes from weaving to dyeing in one assembly. There were 3 shifts of over 1,000 workers. Malayalees dominated all clerical positions. It is said that coolies at the Ahmedabad railway station were commissioned by mill owners to find anyone with prescribed qualifications on the train coming from Kerala.
Say in the office staff, all stenographers were always Keralites. Main reason is they knew little English. Here, English speaking, even today, to get an English speaking clerk is not easy.
गुजरात में उस समय पर क्या बहुत वैकेंसी है. गुजराती लोग नौकरी नहीं करता है. बाहर का लोग टाइप शॉर्टकट पढ़ रहा है ना, टाइपिंग आता है. इधर आ गया तो फटाफट टाइपिंग मिलेगा.
How many Gujaratis knew English? There were hardly 1 or 2 English medium schools.
Kerala had relatively high literacy rate than any part of India. Keralites were more literate and specifically the Christians were more literate.
One thing, they were very genuine, sincere people, conscientious people, and they had no politics. So they did their job and went.
मिल में लगने से पहले वो सेल्स टैक्स में थे. वो छोड़ के वो सारंगपुर कॉटन टेक्सटाइल में लगे. तो मैंने पूछा पापा स्टेट गवर्नमेंट छोड़ के? बोले उस टाइम पे मेरा स्टेट गवर्नमेंट में सैलरी 120 रुपीज़ था और 120 में से मैं यहाँ खर्चा करके मैं तुम्हारी दादी को 60 रुपीज़ यूज टू सेंड एवरी मंथ. तो बोले मुझे सारंगपुर में 180 रुपीज़ मिलने लगा.
In 1964, my grandfather married at the church in Cantonment. Built by the British in 1857, it was one of the 2 churches in the city reminiscent of colonial times. At the time of partition, it was passed down by the English crown to the Indian military services for upkeep. Prayers were held intermittently for a floating population.
In Gujarat, there were Catholics. People are come to work from Goa or Kerala to work in the railways, work in the textile mills. There were Catholics. But the local Catholics or Catholics from Gujarat started only 124 years back.
With the arrival and settlement of migrant Catholics, a dormant church was brought to life. Back in the day, Immaculate Conception Roman Catholic Church was Latin. Latin in liturgy, Latin in service, and Latin in language.
In India, we have three churches. Okay, Latin Church, Syro-Malabar Church, and Syro-Malankara Church. So only three churches in India, and the biggest number are Latin Church, Latin Christians.
The Syrian Church hadn't expanded outside the bounds of Kerala. Therefore, Syrian Catholics, like my grandfather, adhered to Latin rites everywhere outside the state.
50s, 60s, most of them, they moved to the first tier cities, like Chennai, this thing. They all had, already there were churches there, and they tried to link with them.
So in the city, like any other Christians, they remained Christians. Good, they give a good example, okay, and that's all right. But Christianity developed in the villages.
The church began naturally in Gujarat, in Kheda. That was among the Dalit community. Then gradually the church opened itself in the tribal belt.
The Latin Church had entered Gujarat a long time ago, with references to Christians in Bharuch from the 14th century.
700 years ago, there was a Dominican, belonging to the Dominican order, Fray Jourdan Catalan de Severac. Jourdan Catalan de Severac. He came together with some Franciscan brothers. It's the first time that we have historical proof of the presence of the Catholic Church. And it is in Brouch. He had come to Kalyan. Kalyan was at that time the harbor in West India, what today is Bombay.
Because of its proximity to Bombay, encounters of the Catholic Church with Gujarat was early and frequent. But a notable encounter took much longer to take shape. A number of Christian missionaries entered Gujarat and made their presence felt in the relief work provided in the Chappanyo Akal that had left the state of Gujarat distressed. The episode brought missionaries in close contact with the local inhabitants.
Yes, that was a time when the missionaries were able to reach out to thousands of people, and many people were impressed by the life of these missionaries. So to some extent, that drought became a platform for many missionaries to reach out to the poor, and by reaching out to the poor, it became possible for many people to have an experience, an encounter with Christianity. You understand? So when people began to have an experience of Christianity, some were perhaps motivated by that experience and decided to become Christians.
Service and education became means of reaching out for the church. Close to the church in cantonment, a substantial number of Malayalees settled in Meghani Nagar, where the new Gujarat Housing Board colonies were built to house a new influx of migrants to Ahmedabad. 3063 by 128 GHP colony became home to my grandparents. Every Malayali in Ahmedabad that entered in the 60s can be traced back to one such house number.
और मिल वर्कर्स के लिए ये बनाया था मेघानी नगर का गुजरात हाउसिंग बोर्ड. तो उसमें ऐसा था कि 10 रुपये भर के तुमको फॉर्म भरने का, फिर लॉटरी सिस्टम जैसा था. फिर उस टाइम पे भी ऐसा था, तुम नॉनवेज खाते हो नहीं खाते हो, तो दादा बोले हाँ खाते हैं, तो अपने को वो मतलब जो लोग नॉनवेज खाते हैं उनके बीच में मिला. मोर देन 250 फैमिलीज होंगे उस टाइम पे मलयालीस. मतलब उसमें ऐसा था कि केरला से जो भी आता था, पहला जो भी आते हैं उनके रिलेटिव्स जो भी है आइधर मेघा नगर या बापू नगर ऐसे जगह पे होते थे.
ट्रेन में आएगा कोई ना कोई इसको मिलेगा, अगर कोई नहीं मिला तो एजमा तो मचन अंगला ना उनके पास भेजाता था.
सबको हेल्प करता है, ऐसा नहीं कि कोई उसका खाया नहीं, ऐसा कोई आदमी नहीं होगा अहमदाबाद में.
Many of whom I know survived in the city because of a simple Malayali and a dear friend to my grandfather, Mr. M.C. Thomas. He ran a tea stall at the border of the cantonment area. Everyone coming from Kerala that had no connections in the city were sent to him.
അച്ഛൻ അങ്കിളിൻ്റെ വീട്ടിൽ ഭക്ഷണം കഴിക്കാൻ വരുന്ന ആരെങ്കിലുമൊക്കെ കാണും. അപ്പോൾ അവർ പറയും ഇന്ന കമ്പനി പോടാ, ഇന്നടത്ത് പോടാ. അങ്ങനെ ആ പിള്ളേർ പോയി പരിചയപ്പെടും, അങ്ങനെ ജോലി.
Outside Kerala, one was a Malayali bearing financial responsibility of those back home. Other differences were lost in the migration. They went to one church that was open to all. In the same year that my grandparents married, the Catholic Church underwent major change. In the Vatican II Council, Rome voted to overturn missiological beliefs that it had upheld so far. Suddenly, the church was liberal. What the old ethnocentric church called heretic, the new church embraced and encultured. 100,000 priests left the seminaries within 10 years of the council because of what seemed like a dilution of belief systems adhered so far. Others that held on aligned their beliefs with the Second Vatican Council and helped flock thousands to the new church that identified itself with the local socio-cultural context.
For the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, see who dharma samhitano uchet karva આવ્યો નથી. પાવાની શું કહે છે? પણ પરિપૂર્તિ કરવા.
God had to become man. And becoming man means inculturating himself in a given sphere. Okay? Israel. Given language, Jews. Given time, 2000 years ago. All right. Given culture, Jewish culture. He had to accept all that. And therefore, inculturation is inevitable. But the church in the beginning did not understand.
After the Vatican II, church services were translated from Latin to vernacular languages. With greater numbers, it became possible for the Malayali Catholics in Ahmedabad to arrange for a separate Malayalam service. The first service in 1972 was held inside a house in Naroda. This record places Ahmedabad as one of the earliest places to have a Syro-Malabar service outside Kerala. At our church in camp, a service in Gujarati was started in 1982. The use of the local tongue brought a diverse church community to common grounds, towards a common local identity.
Christianity is introduced there in North Gujarat not as a highly institutionalized religion. It is introduced as a panth, a way, a marg. That is because there were so many other panths that were there, Nirand Panth and Kabir Panth and Ramdev Pir Panth and so on. In that kind of a context, Christianity is introduced as a panth.
To this new church was born a new community, a people that redefined their past identity to follow the way of Jesus and incarnate itself thoroughly in the local.
In church and all, I used to read Bible in Gujarati.
Me learning your language, but you learning my language because it's your need.
Malayalis are very good in adapting. That's why they pick up the language immediately.
Later on, when in the office, I took pain to learn Gujarati typing. So slowly I could type Gujarati also.
But I accept everything that is cultural.
और हम खेलते भी थे, ऐसा नहीं कि हम नहीं खेलते, हम गरबा भी खेलते थे.
It is Jaya Pita Jaya Hevandana.
We are also Keralite. We cannot deny the fact, even though we are settled.
We are migrant Keralites, we can say.
At home, inside, they may be having something they may be carrying, but outside they may be like almost like you cannot even identify they are Malayalis.
Christian है बोले non-veg वाला है, ऐसा एक उनको बोला ये तो नॉन वेज खाते हैं,
मटन का मांस खाता है, ये गंदगी आदमी है.
मगर गुजरात में तो we are hardly using non-veg. Only occasionally, जैसे ईस्टर है या क्रिसमस है, no?
See, the cultural, I say the cultured people in Gujarat were vegetarians. Today, little by little, see, the young people may be forgetting, but the culture remains strong. So I introduce that all our in the ashrams, all are vegetarian.
Unless and until we inculturate the gospel, people will not accept.
The priest will be given the tilak before he celebrates the mass. Aarti is used, the Indian bell, Indian dance, the vestments. We don't use the Roman vestments, we use the local vestments.
Mantragodi of our marriage, or Tali of our marriage, or Aarti, all these are Hindu cultures only, no?
That you are Hinduizing Christianity. More appropriate way will be we are Indianizing Christianity. That is actually right.
The church, in its reformed identity, introduced vernacular language in all mission schools in Gujarat. Hence, the second generation came to feel far more integrated in their host city. The mills that had pulled in migrants from across the country gradually shut down. There was mass unemployment, and my grandfather too had lost his job.
3 महीना जो जॉब नहीं था उनका, that was I think the most difficult period हमारे अपने फैमिली में.
But there was no question of going back for us. Money orders had to be sent home. After 3 months, my grandfather found a new job at Girnar Scooters as PA to the general manager.
ഇപ്പോഴും നമ്മൾക്ക് നാട്ടിനേക്കാൾ എല്ലാം കൊണ്ടും ഗുജറാത്ത് തന്നെയാണ്.
इधर हम जितना पीसफुली रहते हैं उधर उतना नहीं रह सकते.
क्योंकि यहाँ कभी भूखा नहीं रहेगा गुजरात में. केरला में भला खाना अच्छा है लेकिन कभी कभी होता है. यहाँ रोज 3 टाइम पेट भर के खाना मिलेगा.
In a few years, it was time for the second generation of migrants to take up financial responsibilities. My father, like others from his generation, grew up feeling obliged to return the contribution of the church. Largely opting for the safety of a government job, families began to move out of Meghani Nagar. Because they moved, they built churches. And because they built churches, they moved. With increase in numbers, more priests to cater to the Malayali population were summoned. In the present day, there is a Malayalam service as per the Syro-Malabar rite in all the 13 churches in Ahmedabad.
Rome sent a priest, bishop, specially to find the possibilities of the Syrian Catholics. That's called the apostolic visitator. He was in charge of all the migrated Syrians outside Kerala.
Based on the evaluation of the apostolic visitor, a separate Syro-Malabar diocese is to be erected, with its head in Samshabad in India, to cater to the Syro-Malabar Catholics that migrated outside Kerala.
Legally speaking, all the Syro-Malabar Catholics staying under their jurisdiction will become the natural members of that diocese. Because Syro-Malabar, I told you, no, the right is given by ascription. By birth, I am a Syro-Malabar. I cannot change that.
There are 800 Syrian Catholic families in Ahmedabad today. Plans are underway to build a separate church for them in the city. But the people stand at a divide.
We are in Ahmedabad. Why can't we follow the Ahmedabadi culture? What is wrong with that? Nothing, no? Altogether, okay, we are following our faith and tradition, we are giving it to our children, we are following the form of liturgy also, but other thing, let them absorb with the places of their migration. Maybe we are able to think like this only because we came out of Kerala. Had we remained there in Kerala, so we would also have been a part of that.
While there are those that may identify themselves with their Syrian roots, the rest find greater association in the church that built them, that is Christian in its faith and local in its culture.